Hey everybody, other countries are doing business outside of the petrodollar. This is a very big deal. I made a video about it about 8 or 9 months ago. It was a big deal then to me, but it's just now catching on. It's been out a couple days, but Saudi Arabia is reiterating a commitment to China. They're going to take care of China, and the U.S. is being dealt out of foreign trade. And this is really going to affect the U.S. dollars. You saw in the thumbnail where there was a tornado of dollars. That's what I think is likely. I think we are almost smack dab in the middle of Triffin's dilemma. If you don't know what that is, please look it up. Go through it. George Gammon did a whiteboard on it. It was real good. Look at the Wikipedia definition. Look at some of the implications of it. That is exactly where we are. I'm going to be going down that rabbit hole soon. I got Brent Johnson coming on to help me, provide information about it, because that's it. That's where we're at.
We are.
So let's get into the story about what's going on with oil.
Yep.
And
so what's going on with the dollar? So basically they have come out and said, so we have been partners since 1945 with Saudi Arabia. We've gone over there. We said, everybody knows the story, Henry Kissinger, FDR and all that, and said, we will give you protection. You sell all the oil in dollars. So, but they have, a year ago, it kind of started dwindling down. Chris did a video about it. Well, they've just come out and flat out said it. There's no more backdoor deals or back in the back room. They've just flat out come out and said, China is going to be their #1 priority, and we are just going to be considered another partner on the side. They have said.
Let me read the quote.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia last week reiterated its commitment to China. Quote, most reliable partner and supplier of crude oil. They're going to take care of China.
Yep.
We're being dealt out of this hand.
Yep. We absolutely are. And so Russia has stepped up also and said, absolutely, we support this. We will also protect you, because they're also going to help Saudi Arabia also. And speaking of that, they're also going to probably let them into the BRICS, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But back up to August of this year, it just kind of slid under the radar. Nobody really talked about it much, at least I didn't hear about it much. There was a deal made between the Saudi Arabian Oil Company and the China Petroleum and the Chemical Corporation. They said it was regarded as a critical step in China's ongoing strategy to secure Saudi Arabia as a client state. And apparently it was a pretty big deal. They said these two companies are going to join hands and they're going to progress of the Belt Road Initiative and Saudi Arabia's vision of 2030. And they keep saying this is for the new world global order, as we have been talking about. But it comes down to the dollar. It is going to affect our dollar because they're not going to use our dollar.
It's another superpower emerging. There's never been one currency. It changes. There's never been,
True.
a superpower that stayed on top forever. And if you'll get into Triffin's dilemma, you'll know why the dollar is doomed. I'm not going to try to get into it sitting here at the woodpile. I really need a whiteboard or something to kind of spell it out. But you'll notice as we have sent our currencies overseas because it's cheaper to make goods over there, our economy gets weaker because we don't produce anything.
No industry.
Yeah, it hollows out the industry. And we're kind of at the end of that cycle. Well, we don't produce anything. All we do is produce dollars and it goes overseas. You'll see on the thumbnail the tornado of dollars, and that's what I think we're going to see in the future when it comes to hyperinflation, when those dollars are no longer wanted, or that, we have to take them, they're ours. So they'll just send them back and they'll buy our assets. That's the scariest part, is when other countries start buying our assets up.
Well, they already are. But,
oh, yeah, no doubt. I know for a fact they're trying to buy gold miners right now and silver miners, and that ought to send chills down everybody's spine.
Yep.
But for everybody that's been moving into gold and silver, it has been unreal, the people that are just normal, everyday people that are waking up daily saying, wow, this is really happening, you know? I don't understand what people don't understand about the currency dying. They just think it's going to be this way forever.
Yep.
We're always going to use a $20 bill to buy, well, it buys a lot less now, but it's like they can't see it. But when they do, they go to gold and silvers just like that.
No, when they do and the light bulb comes on, it's like you cannot unsee it. You're like, oh my goodness, it is happening. And I started getting phone calls left and right the last couple of days. Did you guys see what's happened with Saudi Arabia? Did you see what's happened with the dollar? They're going to take now the China yuan. They're going, and I'm like, I know. What does this mean for the dollar? That's what everybody keeps asking. What are you going to do with the dollar? If they don't want our dollars, what are we going to use? That has been the question that's been asked the last couple of days.
That is what everybody needs to ask themselves. If you made it to the end of the video, please put this in the comments. What does the U.S. trade other countries for their goods and services if the dollar is no longer
Wanted.
a viable option because it's too strong? Think about the currency being so strong, it doesn't do that country any good to take it. Does that make sense? Or that the Fed pivots and we print the currency into the stratosphere. Who's going to take that currency? So what are we going to use in place of the US dollar to trade other countries? That's what I try to think through
Right.
all the time. I think it's going to be an issue in the future, but the good news is we're probably early. You know, I've been thinking this was going to happen for a while. I know people that have been thinking it's been happening since 1971.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know.
Well, hopefully you have some time left to try to navigate and figure out, what it is and where to go from here. But an interesting little thing, just one more note. When they talk about the BRICS, this has been in the conversation for a while now. You guys really need to pay attention to that. I know it's just a blip on the radar and you're like, I'm not interested. It has to do with China and India and Russia and South Africa and all that kind of stuff. Their main focus, and we did a video about this also not too long ago, several months ago, their main focus, even though they have issues with each other, matter of fact, is India and China have skirmishes all the time on their border. They put those aside and their main focus in their agenda, and it clearly states to go around the U.S. dollar. It clearly states that, and now Saudi Arabia has stepped up, and they have asked to join. Russia has said, absolutely, we support that. So if they join, that is all these countries that are against us, Canada, the EU, I mean, how many more of them left before they're going to join? I mean, just to prove it, the United Nations the other day, we and like 12 other countries stood up and said, China, we don't like what you're doing regarding human rights. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and 36 other countries wrote their own letter and said, oh no, China, we applaud you for your achievement in human rights. So this is just one more dot to put together to say, they are going around our dollar. It will be affected. Whether you like it or not or believe it, it's happening.
It's opposite day every day, you know. China's getting applauded for their humanitarian good deeds. That's kind of
They
like...
called them achievements.
Yeah, whatever. They're the most egregious offenders on the planet.
And China, the president, as you call him, number 11.
Mr. 11.
Mr. 11, he's going to make his first visit to Saudi Arabia, I think, since 2016. But anyway, that's what's been happening the last couple days. And
there's a lot going on with Saudi Arabia and their oil and all this stuff. The fact is, we've got oil under our feet that we can drill. The people in the White House don't want us to do that. You can think on that however you want to, you know, come up with your own thoughts on that. But there's oil here. We don't need to be getting it from Saudi Arabia and dealing with those people at all. We should just do it here and stay here. Now, I've got some good news that I would like to add.
I would like that.
John Deere is moving a plant
Facility.
that builds farm equipment to Louisiana from China.
Really?
Thibodaux, Louisiana. It's going to create 71 or 72 new jobs. We're going to make about $42,000 a year. And I was going to pull my phone out and look up and read it to you, but that's pretty much what it says. Thank you, Rusty, for sending me that information. It's a little bit of good news because I really want to see that kind of stuff come back, you know, industry come back to the United States. I tried to build some workout equipment that was built 100% U.S. made, and that's just what I wanted to do, so that's what I did. It was almost impossible to do it in the U.S.
And make
it
a profit.
actually is impossible to make it worth your while doing it, you know, to get paid for it. But maybe that's probably the next video I'll do, or one of the next big ones would be my failed business.
Well, I don't call it failed. We'll get into that in your video.
No,
but
well,
I don't
no,
call
it wasn't
failed.
a complete failure, but
We
you got to
learned
learn.
a lot.
Oh man, and it got me where I'm at right now, right in front of you guys, and I learned a lot from it. But guys, that's it. Action to take would probably be there's some diesel shortages going on. If you got a tank or something that you could fill up, it might not be a bad idea. That's not really advice. You know, that's just being just common sense, you know. And always have food, always have the stuff that you know you're going to need. Right. Remember, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is where you want to be. I needed a part for something the other day, and I bought 2, and I kicked myself for not buying 3. It's just hard for me to get that many. But every time I do it, I'm rewarded when I need it later because it has gone up so much. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention is chicken food. Okay, if you buy chicken food, you better store it because I had about 10 bags go bad. I let it I don't know if moisture got to it or what. It must have been it. Bugs got in it, and it really degraded. The chickens are starting to not lay hardly any eggs. But I know a lot of people are doing this, and I was warned by Buffalo Richard to not do that. If I
We did it.
put it in a barrel, I thought, well, it'll be okay. It's in my shop, and it did degrade, and I am out now. $10 10 bags at $20 a bag or whatever it is. So, lesson learned. But learn from my mistakes. I will share them with you guys. Have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.
You blew that away. You blew that away.